Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to today's video. I hope you're doing really well. Happy New Year, happy 2024. I thought I'd kickstart the year as I always do with my budget spreadsheet video, basically my financial goals and my exact incomings and outgoings that I expect to happen for the year. Every year this has been so different for me because I've had babies and then I've been working and then I've been on maternity leave and then I've had a second round of going on maternity leave and planning for that scenario. So I love doing these videos because it kind of just shows how circumstances can change so easily in someone's life and have a massive effect on income and outgoings and what you expect, you know, life to look like. So I love doing these videos and I love looking back at previous years. And if you haven't seen any of my other videos talking about budgeting, then feel free to go back. I'm really transparent about incomings, outgoings, how I like to manage money and things like that. I'm absolutely no expert and I'm absolutely not giving financial advice here. I am just a very normal person trying to just navigate life with a certain amount of money that only stretches so far, but trying to prioritize it in a way that makes sense for me and my family. So with all that said, I don't want to ramble too much. I will get into the actual budget spreadsheet that I produce every single year. I send it over on Etsy as well. So if you're looking to do a budget for 2024, then I've got you covered. My Etsy spreadsheet is down in the description box and you can link to it. It's already pre-made. All the formulas are in. You don't have to know anything about Excel. You literally just type in your numbers, your incomings, your outgoings, and it will like produce a little budget for you. I find it really helpful. I use the same spreadsheet every year. I tinker it slightly. This year's one is on Etsy. It's a brand new one and that's the one that I'm going to be showing you today when I go through it. So if you like it, tap the link down below. Feel free to purchase it, but you don't have to. It's a really easy thing to do if you just wanted to do it with a pen and paper, if you wanted to make your own spreadsheet, if you just wanted to do it on the notes on your phone. But for me, budgeting is like one of the most important things you can possibly do to like really start your year off and feel like you're in control and feel like you've got a vision for how you want your year to go. Might not always go that way, as we might see. But yeah, that's how I like to start off my year anyway. But yeah, let's just jump into it. So just to recap, I actually looked back at last year's video and I looked at what my short-term goals were then and my long-term goals were then, and I'm really happy to say that I actually managed to achieve my short-term goals, which I'm really proud of actually. We had a couple of like things happening. We wanted to redo the kitchen, which I'm actually sat in right now, which this time last year didn't even exist. The goals that I had set were save enough money for baby number 2. Obviously I have baby number 2 now. She's actually 6 months old in a couple of days time, which is mad. So we had enough money to get all the stuff for her. That's fantastic. We had enough money to put a deposit down for this kitchen, and then we are paying the monthly repayments, which I'll go into on the spreadsheet in a minute, monthly for this, and that's gonna be paid off this year, I believe. I've also managed to maintain my maternity leave fund, which I had in place already when we fell pregnant. I already knew that I needed to save a hell of a lot of money to be able to take a whole year off work and be financially like fine with that, and I haven't actually had to dip into that yet. My statutory maternity leave does, however, end in March. So yeah, from March I would definitely have to dip into that pot, but that's absolutely fine. That's what it's there for. I'm really pleased I didn't have to dip into it just yet. And then also I managed to repay my bank loan that I got out for my new car. When we found out we were having another baby, I was just like, my Mini is not cutting it, it's barely cutting it for one baby, so I upgraded to a Nissan Qashqai, proper mum car, absolutely love it, but I managed to pay back the loan that I had for that. So I now don't have any like outstanding debts, like personal debts. I have things like the kitchen and things for the house and stuff, but no personal debts, which is just a huge relief, especially when you're someone on maternity leave and getting into the territory of unpaid maternity leave. Scary. So I'm really pleased that I managed to, you know, achieve all of those goals. And then my long-term goals that I set myself last year, again, they weren't like things that I was necessarily massively focusing on last year, but I definitely set the wheels in motion last year. The first thing was to invest in property. And basically my goal is, and it still is, to invest in property by 2027, as in buy my own investment property in 2027. But in order to do that, you need a hefty deposit, honey. So I'm basically just through my business account, like my HomeWithShan business account, I'm putting money in a pot away safely, not touching it until I've got enough to, you know, look at maybe putting that towards something. But that is a long way off. Although it's 2024 now, and so I've got 3 years left, but I'm on the right trajectory. I'm putting in money to that pot every single month, and that's going pretty well. So you know, fingers crossed, in a few years I can invest in some property, but for now I'm just being really sensible with that money and just keeping it safe, tucked away and not touching it. And then a personal financial goal, so not through the business, absolutely just me, is to repay the mortgage early. Me and Ash have always wanted to overpay on the mortgage, and we have been doing that. Last year we did it by £50 each, so £100 in total, and then this year we have upped that. Literally our next direct debit that comes out is getting upped to £150 each, so £300 overpayments every single month, which hopefully, if our calculations are correct, reduces our mortgage by 10 whole years. My aim in life would be to be mortgage free by 45, and so I'm 25 now, so 20 years time. Obviously, if there are months where, you know, I can overpay more, I absolutely would. I feel like it's a really, really safe bet. It's a return on investment that you're absolutely going to get, and there's a massive thing of like peace of mind. So yeah, those are our goals, and those haven't changed. But January 2024 is actually the first month that our payments go up massively for the overpayments on the mortgage. So we're planning on, like I said, overpaying by £150 each, so £300 in total, and that will see our mortgage reduce its term by 10 years. That technically means that in 2043, so in 19 years actually, we'll be mortgage free, which would just be insane. It would be amazing. And I think, to be honest, I would like to prioritise that goal over the property investment goal, just because of the pure peace of mind, especially with interest rates. We had to renew our mortgage in 2023, and honey, that was not cute. The interest rates have flown up. We managed to secure an all right rate, but in comparison to the rate we were on before, it is massively increased. It's 4.29%, and in comparison to some of the other rates, it's amazing, but in comparison to where we were at before, the 2.25 or 2.75 region, it's a massive jump. In terms of my 2024 short-term goals, other than my standard rolling every single month contributing to a pot of money for Christmas, birthdays, holidays, etc., those yearly expenses that happen all the time, car insurance, that kind of thing, those things I always contribute towards because they're going to happen anyway, so I might as well prepare myself for it. The bigger thing is the bathroom. I think we would quite like to get the bathroom done this year at some point. So yeah, that's something that I am going to be saving towards. We have just got the windows done, but that's something that Ash has paid for himself, which is the first time we've ever done that. We normally go 50-50 on everything. So it's just one of them, like, he's paid for the windows and I'm probably going to pay for the bathroom if I can manage to like set that money aside, which I think I'll be able to. Hopefully we'll find out with the spreadsheet. But yeah, those are like my financial goals for 2024, keeping it short, keeping it sweet, keeping it simple, because yeah, we don't want to overburden ourselves, guys. We just want to keep them attainable, achievable, and hopefully achieve them all like we did in 2023. So with all that said and done, let's jump in to my spreadsheet. I'm so excited. So this is what the spreadsheet looks like. I'm going to sit on the side here, pop up a little screen, and then we can just go through my exact incomings, my exact outgoings. Obviously I'm on maternity leave, like I said, so statutory maternity pay, what that is, and then when that finishes, and then what I'm going to do financially myself for the rest of the year, because I'm still supposed to be on maternity leave until September. So yeah, my year is going to be a bit fluctuating in terms of the income that I've got, but let's just see what we can do. And to be honest, we're going to work this out together, because I haven't actually sat down and figured this out completely myself yet. Okay, so if you haven't seen it before, this is my budget spreadsheet. This is my 2024 version. I've simplified it. It is honestly the most simplistic version that I've ever done. And as you can see, I've already inputted all of the things that I expect to be my, monthly expenses, and then my personal expenses, my savings, and then also like my nice to have things that I'd like to have a pot of money aside for, but obviously they're the things that first drop if, you can't afford it, bank balance isn't looking too sweet, etc. So to start off with, in January, February and March, I will receive statutory maternity pay. And so that's the standard rate that you get when you're on maternity leave. I only get 3 months of that. I've had 6 months fully paid already from July to December. So I've had 6 months of that. I know that I'm incredibly lucky to have a maternity leave policy like that at my employer, but from January to March, it goes down to statutory. And if I'm totally honest, I don't know the exact amount it is. I know it's gone up from the last time I got maternity leave, like pay. But for argument's sake, for this, for round number's sake, I'm just going to put 600. It's not that, it's slightly more than that, but with tax and all that kind of stuff, I'm just gonna put 600. It's just my poor admin that I haven't actually checked before this video. So yeah, I'll get that between January and March, and then I've put HWS, which is Home with Shan, so how much I'm going to pay myself from my company account. So all of my money that I make from YouTube and Instagram, anything like that, it goes straight into a separate bank account, not my own bank account. And then I take money from that account every month if I need to, and to be honest, I do need to at the moment. So my Home with Shan budget, I've already got a pot of money in that account. That is my maternity leave fund that I basically built up a pot of money, and I didn't spend any money from that account until I'm gonna need it, which is gonna be from January, because like I said, money's going down. So from my Home with Shan business account that I've managed to save through doing YouTube, through doing Instagram, I still can't believe I get to say something like that. I actually have the amount of money, hopefully, to see me through till September, to pay myself £2,000 a month, which is pretty amazing, to be honest. So don't forget though, that is before tax, and as you'll see when I pop that in, it's actually come up here, tax £400. So it's not actually £2,000, it's actually 1,600, but with the maternity leave fund that I've got for January, February, March, it covers the right amount for bills and everything. So I'm in a very fortunate position to be able to have even done that and prepared for that, and you know, put all of that money aside. Because the money that I get from my business account is like through self-employment, I haven't paid tax on that when I receive it, so I have to put the £400, for example, away aside to pay my tax bill at the end of the year, because like it just doesn't come out automatically like it would with a normal job where you're employed or statutory maternity pay. That's all tax, like pre-tax, you don't have to worry about that. But when you're self-employed, you've got to pay that tax yourself. And obviously at the end of the year, when you get your massive tax bill, you want to have had that money aside, otherwise you're in trouble. So yeah, I put that money aside every single month, and that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to drag that across for January, February, March, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to end up the month with £2,200 to play with, to pay my bills, to fund the mortgage, all that kind of stuff. But then when it comes to April, May, June, July onwards, I don't have that income from the statutory maternity pay anymore. I am then going to be able to pay myself from Home with Shan, like business account. I'm going to up that to 3,000, and that's what I've budgeted for the rest of, well, until September, and that is when I'm due to return to work. And then after that, it will probably go back to the same arrangement I had before, which was I receive my income from my job, and then I top myself up with Home with Shan income if I make money on YouTube, like for example through views, ad revenue, and that kind of stuff. Basically for the next 3 months I've got 2,200 to play with, and then from April onwards I've got 2,400, and that's what I'm working with. So yeah, let's get into the expenses part, because I feel like this is the part that we all dread, but they all happen, so we have to account for them, otherwise we're just all over the place running around like headless chickens. And trust me, I've been there. There've been months this year I haven't stuck to budget, and it's been chaos. So I am very, very keen on, you know, working to my budget as much as possible this year. So starting off with these expenses, these are my living costs that come out of my joint account that I share with my husband, and we pay every single thing that comes out of this account 50-50. We do not change anything. We literally cut it straight down the line, so everything that I pop in here is half of the amount that the actual bill is. It keeps it easy, it keeps it sweet, and that's how we like to do it. Everyone's obviously different. You can pay, some people pay utilities, some people pay their bills, other people pay the mortgage, like that just works for them. For us, we have one joint account where all of the money comes out of, and for me, I really like it because it means that first of the month, all of the money that I need to contribute towards bills comes out of my personal bank account into the joint account, and then it all just happens from there. And I don't think that I've got X amount of money because I see it in my bank account when actually there's a payment due to come out, etc. I just really like it this way. It keeps it really simple, and it's always worked for us. So I'm going to pop in all of the details, and don't forget that all of these are 50% of the actual bill itself. So first up, our mortgage is £550 each, and then our overpayments, like I said at the beginning, we are going to start overpaying £150 each. Kitchen repayments for us each are £80. Food and groceries, I am going to put £250, and that is £250 each. So a month we budget about £500, and that includes things like formula, that includes things like nappies, that includes things like washing up liquid and like washing detergent and, you know, things that you get from a supermarket when you do your weekly shop. So it's not just food, it's also everything else. It's on the slim side, I'm not gonna lie. We are kind of fine, and our food bill does sometimes creep above that. Sometimes it's below. We do obviously get HelloFresh as well, and I find that actually I am able to budget a lot better with HelloFresh because I know what's coming. I know that it's really, you know, I know that it's going to be X amount every single week. It's either £30 or £40 depending on how many meals we get each week. And I just really like it. Not only is it easy, but it really helps me budget. So that's just, I know that that isn't for everyone, but for me it is an absolute lifesaver. For water, I've got £31. For gas and electric, I have £100. Home insurance, I have £9. Life insurance, I have £14. Internet, I have £10. TV lessons, I have £0 because we paid a one-off payment. Council tax, I have £91. Childcare is the big one for us, and that has always been a huge expense for us, especially when I was working like 4 days a week, and he had to go in 4 days, like 4 days a week. It was a big expense. However, now that he's turned 3, it's the term after he's turned 3 in January, which means his 30 hours free kicks in, which is going to be a huge benefit to us financially, which is why we're going to be able to overpay on the mortgage at such a big rate, because that money was going towards childcare, and instead of then going, oh, we've got loads of extra money, let's just spend it on like takeaways, which basically would have been the case if we didn't allocate it, we are going to put the money aside from what we would have been spending on childcare this time last year on overpaying the mortgage, and that's what we've decided to do. What I would say is 30 hours free doesn't necessarily actually cover what it means. It's actually more like 22 hours free, which is still great, don't get me wrong, it's free childcare, like fantastic, but it's 22 hours free over the course of 50 weeks in a year rather than 30 whatever weeks it is term time only. Most nurseries want you to stretch it, that's what we do, or unless you want your child to just do term time only, which not everyone can do because most jobs aren't just term time only, most jobs are across the whole year. So we're going to do the stretched offer, which means George will get 22 hours free per week. However, it doesn't cover like some of the like lunchtime sessions, for example. It doesn't cover that, or it doesn't cover XYZ. In different nurseries there's different rules, but basically per day, instead of it being £56 a day, which it usually is if you were just to send your child to this nursery that he goes to, it's £56 a day. It's now going to reduce that bill to £23 a day. That's just how it works in our nursery, but that is still a huge improvement. So anyway, with all that said, our bill has reduced significantly, and it's going to be going down to £130 each a month, which is just insane. That is also matched with the tax-free childcare, which is something that we do because we both are employed or earn a certain amount of money a month. You're eligible for tax-free childcare, which is 20% off, 20 or 25% off of your childcare bill. If you are employed or self-employed or whatever, and your partner is also employed, and neither of you earn over £100,000 a year singly, like together you can earn that amount, but singly, if one of you earns over that, you're not eligible. But basically, if you work and you don't overpass this threshold, you're probably eligible for tax-free childcare, which is a good little chunk of money off of your childcare bill. So that's something that we've always used, but now it has reduced our bill to £130 each, so £206 a month, which, mate, if you told me 2 years ago that that is what the childcare bill would be reduced to, at one point we were paying like £1,200 a month, £1,300 a month sometimes, like it was insane the amount that we were paying. In some different areas in the UK are so different. Down in Hampshire it was a lot more expensive than when we are now, but yeah, it was just crazy. So the fact that my bill is that, I am overjoyed, let me tell you. Office 365 is £4, Spotify is £7, can't live without Spotify of course. Our security system that we have is £14, and then George's clubs, we're going to start him swimming and football, now it's the new year, now he's 3, the term started, so we're going to start doing clubs, and that's going to be about £60 a month, so £30 each. every single month, and I think it's going to be like the best money that we've ever spent, to be honest. He's such an active boy and he needs loads of running around and wearing out, and I think also socially it'll be really great and really fun for us to do stuff like that with him. So yeah, he's doing swimming and football in the new year, which is fab. So those are all of my expenses for the entire month that come out of the joint account, and that totals to £1,470. So that is the amount that I'm going to transfer into the bank account every single month. It's like a standing order, goes in on the first of the month, and I don't even have to think about it. Which then at the end of the month, as it stands, leaves me with, we scroll down, £730 a month to play with for the rest of my bills and expenses and things that I want to buy, etc. So then my personal expenses, these are personal expenses that come out of my account, like when I just pay them, or a direct debit, for example, that comes out of my account. So something like petrol, I would say I spend about £100 a month on petrol, and I obviously want to have that money in my account like ready. I'd say I'd probably fill up twice a month. It's almost like every 3 weeks I fill up, so I've got a whole tank for 3 weeks, and then by the end of the month I need to fill up again, but that will see me into like 2 weeks into the next month. So it balances out to about £100 a month, I would say. I don't do lots of commuting with my car. I'm around town most of the time. I travel to a couple of different towns for bits and bobs, but other than that, I do walk, and I just sort of, I don't go that many places. Like, I'm not that exciting. And if I do, it's with Ash, and he's got his car, so we normally chuck all the kids and the dog and everyone in that car. So £100 a month probably does me for petrol. Commute 1 day a week, obviously not doing that at the moment because I'm on maternity leave, but when I do go back to work in September, I will have to start putting money into that pot for, you know, travel. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. Fitness classes is something that I started doing and I absolutely love it. They are £36 a month, which is quite expensive if I'm honest, but I do really enjoy them, and for what I get out of them, I just think it's money well spent, not just on my fitness and my, you know, my health and all that kind of stuff, for my mental state and for my mental well-being and just everything that comes with that. I think, yeah, it's just great, and it's quite a social thing for me to do as well. It's a group of other women that are really lovely, and I just think it's great. So it's £36 a month, but it's £36 very well spent in my opinion. Then moving on to my savings. So Christmas, birthdays, holidays, you can see here that I have it all here. Like a new car, I don't plan on even getting a new car yet, like at all, but I'd quite like to have a pot of money aside for when that day does happen, like in maybe a couple years time. If I've already got, you know, 500 quid towards a new car, it's better than nothing. And I've obviously got my old car, my current car, that will be worth something. So that plus 500 quid, it gives me a head start, doesn't it? So anyway, with my emergency fund, that is going to be just a straight up £50 a month. It's not for anything specific. It's an emergency fund. It's just for something that's maybe unforeseen, like my boiler breaking or whatever. Again, it's not going to cover it, but it might contribute towards it somewhat, and that makes me feel a little bit, you know, gives me a bit of peace of mind at least. My bathroom, so like I said, that's a goal that I'd quite like to, you know, be able to do this year. I don't think we're going to go mental with it. We're going to do a really budget job, and I think Ash is going to probably do the labour. So I'm only going to pop £100 a month towards that at the moment because I've got other things I also want to contribute towards, and obviously, like I say, you know, we're down to £444 now, and you know, all of these other things, there are a lot of things that come out, and it sounds like a lot of money, but it you know, it goes away pretty quickly. My AA breakdown cover, for example, that's not something that comes out of my account every month. That's actually a bill that comes out every year, but I contribute towards a pot every month, so that it's not like this massive yearly expense. It's just a monthly expense that I pop into one pot in my bank account every single month, and then I pay the yearly thing when it comes up. So that's £10 a month, so it's like £120 a year. And then my car maintenance, for example, again, that's just something that's an arbitrary number that I can pull out of thin air because, you know, other than services and MOTs, like that's what that's for really. So again, I'll put probably like £20 a month in, and then I've got that pot of money rolling there. I should say, with the pot of money that I keep referring to, I've mentioned it on previous videos, but if you're new, then I have a bank account called Hyperjar, and it's separate from my normal current account. I use a different bank for my current account and my mortgage and everything. That's on one separate thing. And then my Hyperjar account, I just love it for the setup of it. It's got lots of different jars, they call them, and I call them pots or jars, whatever you want, and you can allocate money towards certain things. So that's why I like doing something like this, because yeah, you can have like a savings account, but you can have tens of thousands of pounds in a savings account and not really know what it's for, like, and then it's very easy to dip in and go like that. Whereas if you have loads of different pots with loads of different amounts of money, and you can see, okay, I've got £400 towards holiday 2024, I've got £200 towards the bathroom, I've got, do you know what I mean, like £100, £300 towards following Christmas. You know, I really like seeing things like that. I think it's really a really great visual tool, and it really has helped me budget in a way that I didn't really think was possible. It's kind of like envelope stashing and cash stashing, like that back in the day that my nan used to do that. She used to put like bundles, like every time she got her pay packet free, she'd put the cash into separate envelopes for different things, whether that's the bills, whether that's, you know, like the rent payments, whatever it would be. It's like that, but a more up-to-date version. It's obviously on an app. It's completely free, so I know there are other accounts that do that, and you have to pay for them. Hyperdry is totally free. They have loads of other benefits as well, but that's the main thing that I use it for. And I would highly recommend looking into it if it's something that you are interested in doing. But yeah, like I say, so I put all of these different bits of money into different pots, and then I keep them there until I need to pay off the thing, and I find it really, really helpful. Like for example, Christmas this year, I think it was in total, I had about £800 towards Christmas, and that was for food, for presents, for wrapping, for days out, for like everything to do with Christmas. I had £800 towards it. So December, it wasn't a massive hit on the bank account in December because I'd already spread the cost over the whole year, and I'm 100% going to be doing that again this year, as much as I possibly can. But like I say, so my car insurance, that is about £50 a month that I contribute towards that pot, because again, for the whole year I do a yearly payment, and that's how much roughly it spreads out to. New car, it's not a priority right now, especially with this dwindling. Like Christmas next year is way more of a priority than my new car, like a new car that I don't even need or want yet. So I'm gonna leave that blank, but it might be something that I revisit a little bit later, like once I'm, you know, a bit settled with my finances and with maternity pay and all that kind of stuff. Holiday, I actually do have a holiday booked in 2025, and I know that sounds like a really long way off, although I guess it's only like a year and a half, but my really close family friend is getting married in Greece, so we've booked the holiday and I'm really excited for it, but we've booked it already, and it's £111 a month each for basically the foreseeable future, until we paid it off. I think we pay it off like this time next year, so there's like a whole year of paying it. Obviously paid the deposit and stuff, but that's something that's going to be coming out of my account that's something that I'm going to have to pay towards every month. So holiday 2025, that is that. Between now and then, we're not planning on going abroad. We've never been abroad with the kids anyway, and I don't really want to, if I'm totally honest. So we will do a couple of like little short breaks here and there, but yeah, those are things that we can do ad hoc, and not have to like massively save for, whereas this is going to be the first abroad holiday. We're really excited for it, but we are definitely like spending more money than your average holiday, but it's going to be absolutely amazing. So many friends, so many family, I can't wait. But yeah, so that's money that we're putting away for that. Xmas next year, Christmas next year, or this year, sorry. I guess I am actually filming this in December in all fairness, so it is still next year, but Christmas, I'm going to put £100 a month, which is quite a big chunk. Not every month I'm going to be able to achieve that. Some months it'll be 50, but if I prioritise at least £50 a month, I'll be really grateful to myself this time next year. So I am going to prioritise putting money towards Christmas next year already, even though it's literally like a few days ago for me. Yeah, definitely going to be doing that. Birthdays, I'm going to do like 30, because there's not a birthday every month, but some months you've got 3 birthdays, and those are for like my kids' birthdays, obviously my husband's birthdays, my mum, any family members, nieces, nephews, all that stuff. So I'll put in £30 a month, and that's how much I've always done, and it always seems to work out pretty well. And then you can see we've got £123 left, and that is it, like £123 for anything. So if you're in a shop, you can't just get a coffee for £5 and think, oh, that's loads. I still want to allocate, if I can, some money towards these things. So eating out and takeaways, that includes things like going to you know, the cafe, getting a coffee, a takeaway. We probably get like 1 takeaway, probably 2 takeaways a month, I would say, like max. Sometimes I pay for that, sometimes Ash pays for that. It's just like one of those things you just shove on your card. So I always allocate about 30 quid towards takeaways, and then probably eating out like being, you know, grabbing a coffee, or if you want to shop with the kids, or if you're, I don't know, just that kind of stuff. So I'd probably say more like 40, and then it kind of gives me a little bit of leeway. So that's my like eating out pot. Days out kind of covers that as well. Like days out, like if you're going to the zoo or if you're doing something like that, then I'd always put in money for the tickets, but also money for, you know, the food when you get there, if you haven't had time to, like, 'cause you know what it's like, sometimes you don't have time. If you haven't had time to do like a packed lunch or something like that, put money towards that. So days out, I like to prioritise probably about 40 quid as well. And then we don't do like mad days out, but that kind of thing I think is really important to do and have a little bit of cash aside for. Hair, I mean, I'm just getting my hair like cut now. I'm not getting it coloured anymore, which massively cuts down on the price. That used to be a lot more. So I think if I just put like a tenner a month towards that, I can get like a cut and blow dryer every couple of months. It's like 20, 30 quid where I go. So every 3 months I could probably get my hair cut, which would be lovely, because I'm doing it every 6 months at the moment, and I'd quite like to do it every 3 months. That'd be lovely. Nails, you know, it's not a priority. I do get my nails done at the moment, but if my bank account is looking like this from January, nails is not going to be my priority, so cutting that down. And then kids' clothes and my clothes, I'm doing a Vinted sesh at the moment, guys. I'm so on Vinted. My Vinted balance is like 200 quid because I've been selling stuff, and then but every time, like, well, Hallie, my little one, grows out of clothes, I'm selling all of her clothes, and then the money that I get from that, I'm buying her next size up, and it's working really well. So I've actually not spent any money on clothes since she was born. Like, it's mad. So I've sold her clothes and then buying the next size up with that, and then until that kind of stops, I'm not gonna like worry too much about it. And my clothes, if I'm honest, like, I don't really buy that many clothes. Like, I'm not, you know, like, I don't care. I've got clothes, I've got enough clothes, and I'm basically in leggings like most of the time. I'm in like stretchy jeans as we speak. Like, I'm not too fussed about it, and like I said, with £33 in my balance, I am not going to be prioritising that whatsoever. So that is pretty much what my budget is going to be looking like. Like I say, that's just January that I've covered there. I will drag, what I'll do is, I'll do this on all of them, but I'll drag all of this across, and then we'll figure out what the rest of my year is going to look like. So I'll do all of that now, and then I'll figure out what the rest of the year is going to look like, because we've sorted January to March, but the rest of the year is going to look a little bit different. Okay, so I've dragged that across the whole year. All of my expenses that I've figured out are still going to be the case. Let's then just look at what the rest of the year for income's doing, because like I said, January to March we've got statutory maternity leave income, or statutory maternity pay, sorry. And then from the rest of April to September, I will not get any income from statutory maternity pay or from my employment. That is where I'm going to start giving myself £3,000 from my business account, which is obviously the pot of money that I put aside already for my maternity leave. That means I'm going to be paying £600 in tax, which will give me £2,400 to play with, which is more than I was getting for the last 3 months. So that will give me £200 extra to play with, which is beneficial, and I think I'll enjoy the breathing space on that, certainly. From September, I start my, go back to work in September, in theory, and I don't really know what that's going to look like, and I still don't. It is still like 9 months away, so I do have some time, but I just don't know what it's going to look like in terms of how many hours I do, like what days. Obviously then I don't know how much pay I'm going to get, so I can't really work it out. But if I were to go back and do exactly what I used to do, so 4 days a week, working 29 hours, I think 30 hours, my salary, or like my monthly incomings after tax, will be about £2,000. So I'm going to pop that. For argument's sake, I need to, just figure it all out, but that's what I'm going to put for now, and see like how that changes things. So I'm going to get £2,000, say for example, from October to December. By that point, I will no longer have any money in my maternity leave pot of money that I put aside. So you can see here at the total, I will have given myself by that point £24,000 from my savings like pot that I put together, and that will mean it will be gone because that is how much I saved, which I still can't believe if I'm totally honest. But yeah, so in October that's no longer going to exist. Obviously, hopefully by that point I would have been able to save more money through the business account. Obviously it's January now, October, like, you know, in theory I'll be able to make a little bit of money and be able to pay myself. That's the ideal situation. So if that is the case, I'd quite like to give myself £1,500 a month, and that will honestly be that will just be amazing if I'd be able to do that. And with the tax on top of that, that's minus 300, which would give me £3,200 a month to play with, which is honestly like incredible. I cannot believe that would be something that I might be in a position to do. That would be amazing if that were the case. I don't want to live in a dream world. I know that this might not be possible, but you know, it has technically been like the trajectory that I've been going on. If I were to do my job and pay myself through YouTube, it should work out this way. But obviously this is kind of in theory because I don't know whether I'm going to be going back to work the exact same hours that I used to. I don't therefore know if I'll be able to allocate as much time to YouTube if I'm going back to work and juggling 2 kids. Like, if I'm totally honest, it overwhelms me to even think about it because it's quite yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, having 2 kids hit me like a ton of bricks, and it's really, really hard without working. So yeah, to work, have 2 kids and do YouTube and try and make this amount of money, like I just don't know if I can hack it, if I'm totally honest with you. Maybe one, maybe the other, maybe not both. That's just all I'm saying. But yeah, that's what hopefully I would like it to look like in an ideal world. But yeah, this is like pretty much what I'm looking at. And obviously, if that is the case, and I do get to a point where, you know, I've got a couple of £100 left over a month, and then I get to a point where I've got over £1,000 left over a month. If I have over £1,000 left over a month, I will obviously start to look to either overpay the mortgage more, or maybe go on more days out with George, maybe go on holiday a little bit more with the family. Those are my priorities: spending time with the kids, overpaying the mortgage so that we are like secure as a family. I don't want flash stuff. I don't want more clothes. I don't want a new car. Like I said, I've got my new car like bit on there, but that's just because like at some point I'll need a new car. It's not because I actually want a new car. Those are my priorities, and the fact that I'm even in a position to like have the freedom for those to be my priorities, I just know how incredibly lucky a position that I'm in. But yeah, I feel like budgeting for the last like 3-4 years has, oh my gosh, helped me so much to realise like what you can actually do with your money, and like if you allocate it properly, you can stretch it a long way. And if you're not just like willy-nilly spending on little things, thinking, oh, it's only a couple quid here, it's only a tenner there, it's only a, you know, 20 quid there, it adds up. It really adds up. And by allocating like little bits like this, I found it so helpful. That app, Hyperjar, changed my life. This spreadsheet changed my life in terms of budgeting. Like, it really has. So if I were to honestly give you any advice, it would be to get a budget spreadsheet, whether that's make your own, download this one, find a different one, I don't care. This one's obviously on Etsy, like I said, and then also that Hyperjar bank account is like fantastic. Love the app. It's really great. But yeah, that is what my 2024 budget is looking like. Obviously, having been on maternity leave before, I know how tricky it can get, so I really tried to prepare myself as much as I possibly could to get into a position where I could have a whole year off with my kids. Like, it's my absolute dream. It really is. And the fact that I'm in a financial position to still pay the bills, be financially stable, overpay on my mortgage, and do that, like, I'm just really grateful. And massive part of that is because you watch my YouTube videos, so thank you. But yeah, I'm going to love you and leave you now, guys. Let me know if you do decide to download the spreadsheet. I'd love to know. But for now, I will see you in the next one. Happy New Year. Bye.
You glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.